All right. Hello again, adventurers, and welcome to another exciting daily vlog. This is Daily Vlog 2025, number 219. And today, I have finally gotten a chance to look through my Draw Steel PDF. And I have some opinions. Excuse me. If anyone is unaware, Matt Colville a couple years ago during the OGL debacle mentioned that he was working on his own tabletop RPG. And I think, I want to say last year-ish, sometime, he did a Kickstarter to fund the final creation of it. And it took a while for it to actually have a name, but eventually he called it Draw Steel. And effectively, it was supposed to be all the stuff that he really, really liked about TTRPGs. It was not supposed to be the D&D killer. It was not supposed to be the new #1 TTRPG in the world. No, it was just supposed to be stuff that he liked. And if you've been around on this channel for a while, you know that Matt Colville and I have differing opinions on certain things. I even have a couple videos entitled something to the effect of a one-sided argument with Matt Colville. And the reason I call it a one-sided argument is because Matt Colville doesn't know that I exist. But I have had arguments with certain things that he has said. So I don't agree with everything that Matt Colville says. However, dude understands TTRPGs. If you want an exceptional third-party supplement for 5th edition, get Flea Mortals. That is effectively his version of the monster manual for D&D 5th edition. And when I say his version of the monster manual, I don't mean that he takes the monster manual and like rewrites it or something. No, he created an entire monster manual of really interesting monsters that you can run in D&D 5th edition, and they're so much more fun to run than anything you're going to find in a Wizard of the Coast book. Again, I don't have the massive hate boner that most people have for Wizard of the Coast. I actually like most of the stuff that they do. I like D&D. I like D&D 5th edition. I like D&D 4th edition better. But I don't hate Wizards of the Coast in any way, shape, or form. However, their monster design specifically for 5th edition kind of sucks. The new monster manual that came out in 2024, that Hyde referred to as 5.5, is okay. There's some stuff that they do better with that than older versions, but it's still not great. Monsters, for the most part, are just hit points with a few attacks attached to them. And the simplifying of the monsters worked in certain ways because running spellcasters in 5th edition really wasn't all that much fun before, and now they've turned them into something very, very different where they're not really casting spells, they're using inherent abilities and things like that, and it does make them a little easier to run, but they're not more interesting. Like, to create interesting combat encounters in 5th edition, 9 times out of 10, you really have to put a lot of the emphasis on the encounter design as opposed to the enemies in the encounter. And Flea Mortals is not like that. They have really fascinating, interesting abilities. And yeah, it's super, super cool. So anyway, Matt Colville decided to make his own TTRPG. It's been in development for years. At Gen Con, it officially was announced as the digital version being done. All of the backers got their digital copies of the 2 books instead of 3. The first book is Draw Steel Heroes. The second book is Draw Steel Monsters. I haven't gone through Draw Steel Monsters yet. I mean, I've paged through it very very quickly to look at like one or two stat blocks, and they make me very very happy. For reasons I'll explain in a little bit. But I have gone through the majority of Draw Steel. I didn't look at every single class ability of every single Kuka class because, first of all, there's a lot of them, and second of all, they do a lot. It's not like D&D 5th edition where, you know, every level you'll get like a single ability that generally has one or maybe two different applications that you can use it for. Every level you get a choice from like 4 to 6 different abilities, and each one of them does multiple things. It's really really cool. So looking through it, there's a ton of stuff I love about it. I will be doing a full in-depth review on it. However, before I can do that in-depth review, I've got one more Essence 20 book that I want to do an in-depth review for. Then I'm going to do the Draw Steel. And then Welcome to Night Vale is coming out soon, so I'll be having an in-depth review for that. And then there's 2 more Essence 20 books coming out in the next couple months. Transformers 1, and then another G.I. Joe book that I can't remember what it's called. Are both supposed to be coming out, I think, in like September or October, somewhere around there. So I have quite a few. And I haven't purchased those, the 2 Essence 20 books yet, because, again, saving up for Thumb Pump. So I don't even have them yet. But yeah, overall, like I've been really kind of getting into Draw Steel and looking at it. And there's a lot of systems in there that I think are really, really cool. Like the kit system. Effectively, in addition to picking, they have different words for them, but basically your race, your background, your class. Draw Steel has technically 2 other things that you get to pick for your Kika character. You have your culture, which effectively is just a, from a mechanical standpoint, it's a collection of skills. And their skill list is really, really long. Much longer than 5th edition, rivaling the Pathfinder / 3rd edition list of skills, which was just nonsense. So your culture, you take 3 different aspects of the culture, which is the organization, the something and something else. Anyway, it's 3 different parts. You put them together, and it gives you a bunch of skills in some languages. But the way that it's set up is so much better than just going, well, just pick 3 skills and that will be brilliant for you. No, they really kind of tie it into, well, how did this affect your character? How did it turn them into the person that they are? So yeah, getting back to kits. So yeah, you still have your, you know, your race, your background, and your class. You have the additional culture thing, and then you have your kit. And your kit is effectively not only what kind of weapons and armor that you wear, but also it gives you an innate ability that you can use that with. So your class no longer strictly dictates, okay, these are the weapons that you're going to use. Like the first class in there, I can't remember even what it's called, but it's a 4th edition Avenger is what it is. If you're not familiar with the Avenger from 4th edition, it's probably one of the coolest classes that have ever existed. They tried to translate it to 5th edition with the Path of Vengeance, or Oath of Vengeance Paladin, and it was okay, but it wasn't the Avenger. But the Avenger was basically this holy warrior that was kind of, they were similar to a paladin, but as opposed to a paladin being there to kind of protect the weak and do all the righteous stuff, the Avenger was the person that worked behind the scenes to do the things that need to be done in the name of their deity. And a lot of times they would use big old swords, and they would wear light they'd wear light armor, basically the same armor that like wizards and stuff would wear, and they could teleport, and they were a super super cool class. So I have to look up what this thing is called because it's gonna drive my brain nuts. Draw Steel starts with a D. Draw Steel Heroes. Let's go. Classes. The Censor. That's what they call it. The Censor. The artwork is fucking amazing in this game. But the Censor is technically, effectively, an Avenger / a Paladin kind of thing. And I was looking through it, and I'm like, this is a really really cool class. And if I wanted to recreate my 5th edition Avenger, or my 4th edition Avenger that I built for a game that was called Fourth Court, which is basically like hardcore D&D. I built this Avenger Sword Mage hybrid that I absolutely adored. If I wanted to recreate that character, I could probably do it with a Censor. Because they do have like an Oath of Enmity kind of thing. They call it Judgment. But you also have these subclasses that they call Censor Orders. And each one kind of changes pretty significantly how your Censor is going to play. Like the Exorcist Censor is an Avenger. Like that's what they're supposed to be. The Oracle Censor is a little bit more kind of, I guess, caster oriented a little bit more, and then the Paragon is a little bit more kind of your traditional Paladin style character. And then in addition to the your subclass, you also have to choose a deity, and they have domains, and then you can get some domain features. Like, there is so much customizability in these classes. Like, there's so many different choices that you can make. And unlike things like, or at least as far as I've seen, I haven't read through all of the class abilities or anything like that. So it's possible, though I find it highly unlikely, that it could be similar to this. In something like Pathfinder, one of the things that people claim is like, oh, it's so customizable. No, it's very specialized. All of your characters are going to be specialized to do a very, very specific thing. And in order to do that very, very specific thing, you have to make a number of choices to get to that specific thing. And if you make the wrong choices, your character is mostly useless. As far as I can tell, that's not really an issue. Every single one of these things can be mixed with every single one, and it still gives you useful, interesting things that you can do. And there's also an optional rule that allows you to kind of change certain abilities on their version of Long Rest, which is called a Respite, or Respite. But yeah, it's so interesting. And so getting back to the kits, if I wanted to create my old Avenger, I would probably want to use either a Battle Mind kit, which basically gives me access to light armor and a medium weapon, which could be a longsword or something like that. That would kind of fit the sword mage aspect of it. Or I could be a panther. That's one of the kits. And for that kit, you wear no armor, which fits very well with the Avenger, and you wield a heavy weapon like a greatsword or something like that. And their signature ability is called Devastating Rush. And the ability itself, it does damage. That's how it works. However, the effect of it, you can move up to 3 squares straight towards the target before this strike, which deals extra damage equal to the number of squares you move this way. So it's a charge ability. And the Censor, if you choose that Exorcist order, when you use your Judgment, basically your ability to mark someone and go, you're mine, they get an additional benefit. Like every different order gets an additional benefit when you use your kind of your judgment ability. And so for the Exorcist, you can teleport up to a number of squares equal to twice your presence score, which your presence for this character starts at 2. So you can teleport up to 4 squares, which is roughly 20 feet, anytime you use this judgment ability, which uses your maneuver bonus action to do that. So the thing with the Avenger in 4th edition was it had a bunch of different abilities that allowed you to teleport, which I really, really loved. And if you were specifically an Eladrin Avenger, you had a racial ability called Phase Step that allowed you to just teleport once per encounter as a minor action, bonus action. And if you were an Eladrin Avenger, you could take a feat that if you were teleporting towards your Oath of Enmity target, you could double the amount of the distance that you could teleport as long as you were teleporting closer to them. And that's basically what the Exorcist ability does, where it says specifically, this movement must take you closer to the judged creature. You do not need line of effect to your destination. So, yeah, if I wanted, if I wanted to make my character, I could 100% do that. However, there are also 2 kits that I really, really enjoy. They are the Martial Artist kit and the Pugilist kit. I wonder why I like those kits. Do you get to punch stuff? So if I wanted to be a punchy paladin, I could make a punchy paladin in Draw Steel. And I think that that's amazing and wonderful and super, super fun. So yeah, there's some stuff that I'm less than thrilled about. The massive skill list, I generally don't tend to be a big fan of because it starts to get in the way of role playing as opposed to helping. And again, he talks about specifically why there's so many skills in here. He specifically goes, well, it makes it so that your characters can feel like they have something that they do really, really well, and everybody can have different stuff that they do well. Which technically, I mean, again, that's the same argument for Pathfinder and why there's so many different things and things. Well, it's because it's very customized. No, it just means that it's harder to do things. And it means that party setup is even more important, because if you guys are missing a really essential skill for something, well, then it's going to cause issues. I actually had that happen in 5th edition, which doesn't have as big a problem with its skill list, but still has a decent-sized skill list. I was playing an adventure in the Adventurers League. Sorry. Sorry. I was playing an adventure in the Adventurers League, and the adventure is basically this. You're going into this tomb that has effectively a 4-hour timer. And it happens in real time. The adventure is designed to be run in 4 hours, so you have 4 real-life hours to make you your way through this tomb and find the things that you need to find. If your characters do not leave before 4 hours are up, all of your characters are trapped in there for eternity, and all of your characters die. And in the Adventurers League, that means, guess what? Rip up the character sheet. They don't exist anymore. And this was actually a high-level adventure, if I remember correctly. I guess it wasn't quote-unquote high-level. I think it was either late Tier 2, optimized for level 9 to level 10 characters. It might have been early Tier 3, somewhere in there. Excuse me, I got something in my throat. I apologize. So, I went into this adventure with, I think I had my Shadow Monk in there, which my monk was agility and wisdom based. That's what they did well. And it was a Shadow Monk, so it was really good at, sneaking around and stuff like that. In our entire party, we had a 5-person party. In our entire party, we did not have a single intelligence focused character. It just, because again, it was a convention game. We all just signed up for the convention. We just all showed up with our characters. We just didn't have anyone with a really high intelligence score, which normally isn't that big a deal. There's a lot of different ways to get around just not having someone with a really high intelligence score. However, almost every single check in this entire dungeon was not just an intelligence check. It was like a DC 20 or DC 25 intelligence check. And if you couldn't make these intelligence checks, you couldn't actually get through the dungeon because they were things like investigation checks. And if you failed the check, you couldn't find the button that you needed to press to be able to get to the next room, or you couldn't find the item that you needed to solve the puzzle. It was a just poorly designed adventure because, again, if you had someone with a really, really high investigation, like if you had like a bard or a rogue that had just maxed out their investigation, had like a plus 12 or plus 15 to it, you were doing absolutely fine. If you didn't have that, you literally couldn't do anything. And so we spent 4 hours rolling over and over again. A few of us couldn't even make the checks because we might have like a -1 intelligence and just weren't trained in investigation. And so even with a nat 20, we could only roll a 19. So it was physically impossible for us to be helpful in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, again, depending on adventure design and stuff, this is one of the reasons why I don't like super, super long skill lists, because invariably you will come to a situation where it'll be like, well, you need one of these like 4 skills, and it'll be like, no one in our party has those specific 4 skills out of the 40 skills that exist. Like, each one of us only gets 5 skills. So even with a party of 5 people and every one of us chooses a completely different skill set, that means we're still going to have 15 skills that none of us took. Now, I have no idea if there's 40 skills in this or not. I was just using easy numbers. So anyway, other than that and a few other weird things that, again, I'll talk about when I do my in-depth review, I am so loving this this thing. One other thing I'm less than thrilled about, they do have a weapon category for whips. There's only one kit that uses whips, and that hurts me to the core, because if I want to make my super cool vampire hunter, I can only use one kit. And that's just, it makes me sad. I want lots of kits for using my whip. But you know, Colville's gonna continue releasing supplements and stuff for this. We'll eventually get another whip kit. And you know, sticks and stones may break my bones, but whips and chains excite me. So, yeah, like that's kind of all I've been doing. Like I haven't been doing well mentally. Physically, I'm starting to actually feel a little bit better, which is nice. But mentally, like, it's been rough past few days. So yeah, the only thing I've been able to do, really, I did some prep work for my D&D game last night, which went relatively well. That'll probably be up on the channel on Wednesday. And I got to read through Draw Steel, and I'm excited. Like I mentioned this before, I'm starting to seriously look at what system I'm going to use for my Daily December Kiki campaign. Draw Steel is starting to get up there. I do like the fact that it is, you know, a fantasy game. But the lore and everything and the kind of default setting is not so intrinsically attached to it that if I wanted to use this to run something in my own system, like something I've been wanting to do for a little while now, is I want to run a Castlevania mini campaign. I really, really like the Castlevania series. I've played almost every single game. I've beaten the majority of Castlevania games. I love them to death. I'm a little bit better with the Metroidvania stuff, like the Symphony of the Night and that stuff. I think every single one of the Metroidvania versions of Castlevania I have beaten, aside from the PS2, the two PS2 games, because I never had a chance. I really love Curse of Darkness, but I got really deep into the Innocent Devil summoning and the item creation or the weapon creation system that I got fixated on that, and then I forgot to finish it. And I've played Lament of Innocence. I've just never finished it because it's much more linear than I like. And then the old school, like more action oriented ones. I've played most of them. I don't think I've beaten. I think the closest I've gotten Castlevania 3 I've almost beaten. But anyway, getting back to and I own a bunch of different collections of old Castlevania games, so I could beat them. I have to sit down and do it. So anyway, I would love to do a Castlevania TTRPG. I mean, the Castlevania anime series, both the original one and then Castlevania, I think it's Nocturne, is the one that uses Richter and all that sort of stuff. Both of them are phenomenal. Both of them have amazing worlds. It would be really fun to run a TTRPG in. Just the regular, like I am super into the Castlevania lore. I know all of it, So running a Castlevania game like that could be super fun. Back when I did the Critters and Team Human 48-hour D&D live streams for Extra Life, both of those I ran 8-hour Castlevania games. One of them, Dale Kingsmill played in. It was super fun. The other one, I can't remember who played in it with me. But yeah, the first one I did was based on Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest, which is technically the first Metroidvania Castlevania game. But it gets a really bad rep because it was hard and really, really non-intuitive. But it's still a great game, and I love it. And the second one I did was based on Castlevania 3, and I made these 8-hour adventures, and they were super, super fun, but I haven't been able to do that in a really, really long time, and I've never actually been able to do something aside from like a one-shot. So that's something that I've been kicking around about, maybe doing that. And Draw Steel, I think, especially with the kit system and just how kind of moldable the classes seem to me, I think I could do a Castlevania Draw Steel and it would work fairly well. So yeah, Draw Steel is definitely in the running. I haven't had a chance to really go in depth for Discworld yet. But Discworld is so intrinsically tied to its campaign setting that if I was to do Discworld, I would need to run a Discworld campaign, not a Castlevania campaign that used Discworld. And that's kind of what I've been doing for a little bit. Like even with the Power Rangers, I didn't run a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers campaign. I ran my own Power Rangers with my own ideas, and they were college students and things like that. Like I still kind of made my own stuff for it. And then I think everything else that I've done for my mini campaigns, like Fabula Ultima, we created the world during the Session Zero, which was super, super fun. And then what was the one I did most recently? God, my brain is just gone right now, guys. Wow, I genuinely cannot remember what I did for my most recent campaign. Whatever it was fun. I'm literally gonna go to my playlists and look at it because I genuinely cannot remember what I did. There was Daghart. Daghart was super fun. Metroid Inquest. Yeah, it was Lancer. Yeah, and so again with Lancer, Lancer has a kind of default campaign setting that's baked into it, and I still went, nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. So yeah. Anyway, interested to hear from you guys. If, first of all, do any of you guys own Draw Steel yet, or have looked into it or anything like that? Let me know your opinions. Are there any other TTRPGs that you think might make a cool mini campaign for my Daily December campaign? Put that in the description as well. I already know about Cosmere. I just have to get the money to be able to pick up a copy. And again, I have 2 Essence 20 books to pick up, so I probably won't have the money for that minimum until like September or October at the earliest. Yeah, that's one. But if there's other TTRPGs that you guys think might be fun, I did get that big old 50 some odd TTRPGs bundle. So I have a ton of new RPGs that I can kind of go through and see if maybe I like it. Like Root looked really, really interesting. I love that little kind of watership down red wall feeling that it's got. So anyway, it's going to be all for me today. I will see you guys next time. All right. Bye-bye.